Welcome back to Soundwell Guitar. Today's topic is going to be on the key of A minor and why we say it has no sharps or flats in it, but yet it almost always has a G sharp in it. Okay, the key of A minor, the one minor key that's well known for its lack of sharps and flats. It supposedly has none. Well, years ago I was on a piano lesson and I was playing The Enlightening Thoughts of a Tobacco Smoker by Bach. And it was in the key of A minor. And it suddenly dawned on me that there were G sharps all over the place. That is, the seventh tone in the scale was altered. This is what is called an accidental. It suddenly really threw me off because typically when an accidental appears in a song, and if you don't know what an accidental is, it's when you just alter a tone somewhere in the middle of the tune, so it's a note that's not native to the key. It's going to sound a little bit like an oddball note. But the problem is that the G sharp was not sounding like an oddball note. It sounded like it was supposed to be there. I stopped playing instantly and asked my teacher, wait a minute, there's G sharps all over the place, but the key of A minor has no sharps or flats. Why is that G sharp there? And she said, because it sounds good. Bach put it there because it sounds good. I wasn't satisfied with that answer. I prefer a little bit more information, maybe it's called something, just anything. My teacher was a really good piano teacher, but she really wasn't one for theory. That was satisfying enough for her to just say, Bach put it there because it sounded good. And the truth is you could answer pretty much any musical question with that answer, but that's the most fundamental reason why we do anything in music is because it sounds good. Again, I want more information. So I went home, did my own research, and the research yielded some really interesting things that I'm going to share with you in this video. Okay, in the key of A minor, it's said it's not to have any sharps or flats, and this is true. I can do an A natural minor scale. Like that. There's the A minor, and then there's the G natural. I'm going to give you an example of a guitar tune written by Ferdinand Caroli, his etude in A minor, so it's in the key of A minor, but how these G sharps keep on appearing in there, but they actually sound like they belong. There's your G sharp right there. Okay, so it's an accidental, but again, just sounds like that's how the key should be. Now let me give you an example using the same tune of what an accidental usually sounds like to me. Again, like it pops, it sounds like it doesn't quite belong there. And this is the second part where he brings in a altered D. He raises the D. See what I mean? You notice that. But you don't really notice the G sharp. So again, getting back to my point on like trying to understand then when we constantly have this accidental on the G and it just sounds like it belongs, and like I feel like then the key of A minor should be considered the key that has one sharp in it, G, but that's not what we can call it. Okay, so when I researched it, I found out that there are actually three minor keys: the natural minor, and then the harmonic minor, and the melodic minor. We're not going to talk about the melodic minor, but we will talk about the natural and the harmonic. Now the natural minor would be, if we start on the A note, we would have no sharps or flats. There it is, the G came out naturally. And if we did a chord progression on that, harmonized a 1-4-5 chord progression on it, our 5 chord would be an E minor with a G natural in it. Let's hear what that sounds like. Harmonized perfectly, sounds right. But now watch if I play an E major as my 5 chord with that G sharp in it, it sounds right as well. In fact, in some ways it sounds more bold. One of the things that we're hearing there is a leading tone to the A. It's one thing that we could call it, because the G natural to the A is a whole step away, so the distance is so far it doesn't quite sound like a leading tone. But when we're just a half a step away, we now have that leading tone leading us back to the tonic. And as a scale, it would sound like this. See what I mean? Instead of that, we get that. Kind of a more exotic sound. So again, what's happening here in songs like this Etude or the Enlightening Thoughts of a Tobacco Smoker, when it's going on to the 5 chord, it's just raising that sharp as a leading tone. So it's like an E major chord. The 5 chord's a major chord. It's got that G sharp leads to the tonic. Or you could, if you're thinking of it as a scale, it's the harmonic minor scale. Either way, that G really does fit in there perfectly. We just use it as an accidental when we say the key of A minor has no sharps or flats, but you're going to see that G sharp snuck in there all the time because it's part of the harmonic minor scale. This is also true of any minor key. You can go and raise your 7th tone and you'll have that leading tone. It also works really well when you're harmonizing your chords. You go to your 5 chord instead of using a minor chord, use a major chord. Sometimes makes for a little bit more tension and more of a bolder resolution because it leads you right into the tonic chord. I hope you found that educational. We'll see you on the next video.